Welcome to another edition of Ask an Expert. I'm Sarah Rudinoff with Rudinoff Residential, and today we have a very special expert, somebody we see all the time, probably the person in our business that we see more than anyone else, and that's our inspector, Thurston McMurray. Welcome, Thurston.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thurston, face to face and not in a crawl space
right.
or an attic.
Clean-ish.
Clean-ish.
Yeah.
You're not in your onesie
No.
from Home Depot.
No.
So Thurston has Madrona Home Inspections, and we've been working together for
like 9 years.
9 years.
Something
Okay.
like that.
Because you under Raj Hayden, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I got into it because she did the home inspection on the house I bought.
And then you were like, wow.
And I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, she's
It's
amazing.
very cool. Yeah.
And so Raj Hayden is a wonderful inspector
Yeah.
in Seattle, and we used Raj, and that's how we found you.
Yep.
And yeah, we love working with you. So we thought, we'd ask you some questions because you are an expert in a lot of things. Now, with the home inspection business, how did you start? What was your kind of background on it?
I've always been kind of like handy. I've had like a lot of different jobs, but it was really like I had a business repairing espresso machines.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah. Like tinkering on machines. And I wanted to like work outside more. I was like kind of stuck in this little shop. And then we bought a house and Raj did the inspection and I was like, what's happening here? She's like all over the place and it's like telling me things that I kind of understand but I'm like more interested in. And I called her like, I think it was a couple months later. And I was like, hey, how do I get into this? And she just said, you want to follow me around? You can come follow me around.
So good.
It was so great.
I love that.
And then it was like, you take your classes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you you'd had experience because you tinkered at your own homes and you kind of did some fixins and repairs.
Yeah, I had like jobs. I used to build sets for TV commercials back in Chicago and like decorate sets and then I would like fix things and then I had my espresso repair business. I did handyman stuff. I was kind of like jack of all trades, which is helpful for home inspecting.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people get into it because they're like contractors or something, and I think you can get kind of like fixated on like one aspect. Like I'm into decks or I do roofs, and then you kind of like get real focused. But I was just more like handy, and I don't know, it just worked.
We are very well suited for it.
Well, thank you.
Now, in your opinion, what is the easiest home maintenance project that can have the biggest impact of your home? When you sort of see all the houses and you think, because our clients are going to be watching this and people who might want to think about home ownership.
Yeah, I think like if you flip it around and you're like, what destroys a home?
Yeah,
right?
there
like,
we go.
How are you keeping your home intact?
What's
like
the worst deferred
outside
maintenance?
stuff? It is. It's like letting leaks just kind of fester and go. I mean, I think the best maintenance you can do is anything like exterior. Like if you have an old house with a lot of wood trim, like just be aware of that and know that you've got like a lot of kind of old house wood trim maintenance. If you have a new house which has no overhangs, these big boxy buildings and like townhouses and stuff, just like be aware of if your roof drains are getting clogged, you've got to like take care of that stuff. I think also like, like they say like farming, it's like farmers' footsteps are the best fertilizer. It's like being aware. Walk around your house and look at it. Don't forget you have like a crawl space, like yours is down here.
Yeah.
Just have somebody poke their head in there, see what's going on. If you think something's wrong, like maybe get someone to look at it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think we see that a lot. Like just even cleaning out your gutters once a year means that your downspouts are working.
Cheap and easy.
Cheap and easy.
Unless you have like a 3-story house and then hire it out.
Yes, don't be getting on your own roof when you have a 2-story house even.
Yeah.
Not recommended. Is there something that comes up frequently in the inspections that freaks out buyers but isn't really that big of a deal when, what is that big thing that people kind of worry about the most that's maybe the least sort of important?
I think people get really worried about structural problems. Like they'll see little cracks, and there are cracks to worry about, foundation or walls or whatever, but a lot of, we have a lot of old houses. We just do, and so when you have an older house, the tolerance is like so much different. You're like, someone can be used to new construction, and then they're like, why would you buy a house? The doors aren't even plumb. And you're like, it's 100 years old.
Yeah.
You can expect some settling, and a lot of that doesn't really matter as long as it's stopped. If the house is new and you've got a bunch of cracks, kind of a different thing. But
Interesting, yeah.
I mean,
And alternately, is there something that seems small but then can actually be a big deal? Like, what are things that people don't really think of?
like water in crawl spaces, drainage stuff, water, really water anywhere.
Seattle.
Yeah, like the gutter. People will be like the gutter kind of overflows, or like I noticed that the downspout drains just kind of dumping next to the house. You go, that's yeah. I mean, that can be a big deal.
Yeah.
Water under a crawl space, mold in your house, bad indoor air quality, rot in your floor joists.
Yeah. Oh God.
I don't like.
Thurston.
You don't want to be like a fear monger, but
Yeah. No,
the job is delivering bad news.
You do a very good job. You serve it with a smile.
I try. I mean, it's funny because it's like people, it's nuts and bolts, right? People are like, you're a home inspector. It's black and white. It's like electrical, is it good or bad, or is the roof good or bad? And you're like, it's both. But we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's communication.
Well, and that every house is always aging. Like even the second you move in, nothing stays just
Good point.
The same. A house always needs love. It always needs attention. It's a living thing.
What do you find that people think are like really big deals, and in your experience?
Well,
like,
one of the
don't
things,
worry about that.
one of the biggest things, and I think it's sort of what's in the media, like you said, where people go, oh, structural, or their parents have told them structural. Just make sure the house isn't going to fall down.
Yeah.
I think it's the roof. Like people go, oh my God, it needs a new roof, and we get roof bids all the time, and we see new roofs go on all the time, and it's sort of not one of the most expensive things as far as, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's very black and white. It can be repaired. It can be taken off. It can be put back on.
Sure.
We know kind of the range of the price. The things that scare me more are, like you said, where you kind of don't know where it's leading. So I think that sort of people go, I just can't buy a house with an old roof. And it's like, well, every roof is going to get old and you will be replacing the one that you live in sometime, So I think that's funny. I always say, we can always ask in a certain market, maybe we're getting a little bit more into that market, the seller to, we've had sellers put new roofs on before, we close on the house. So it isn't one of those things where we just can't look at a house if it needs a new roof. It's an interesting thing.
You can't. Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to look at the house.
Yeah.
Every house needs a new roof.
Right.
Every 20, 25, whatever type of material it
Exactly.
is.
One of the things I like about when you look at condos is they have the depreciating asset calendar, which is essentially.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's they would call it a reserve study,
Okay,
right?
I know what that is.
And it comes with this depreciating asset calendar. So if the assets of the building are roof, siding, windows, decks, doors, hallways, driveways, they have the year that how many years it's on. So we sort of look at everything that has less than 5 years, and I think about that when I see any house. Okay, what are all the items, and where are their life expectancies? And they're going to be, even a house that's in great shape. It's like, well, the water heater's 10 years old, So just going through those items with our clients and sort of saying, here's what to expect in the first 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, that kind of thing.
Because it's context.
Right.
That's the thing. Everything is context. And like, there are disposable systems in a house. Heating systems are disposable. I mean, unfortunately, you have to take things, throw them away, and put new ones on. Roofs are disposable.
Yeah.
They're just expensive, long-term disposable. But what's not disposable is like a foundation system, framing. All that can be fixed, but like, there are reasons to worry about those. But like a roof, it's easy for people like us who've been doing it a long time. Roof, you can put $1 on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some things you really can't. Not just standing on site. You need to talk to an expert.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point too with the older houses, where when the framing is fir and old growth hardwoods and all this kind of stuff, it just, I mean, we've both seen a shingle sitting on the ground in a newer house that's just disintegrated, and a shingle that's been probably sitting on the ground for 15 years in an old house, and it's like dusted off. Yep.
Yeah.
Hard as a rock.
There's a lot to like in old houses. I mean, that's one thing too. People get worried about like buying an old house. You go, well, like, there's a lot to like. We don't like old plumbing, old electrical, old oil heating systems, asbestos ductwork and stuff. But like those can be attended to. But like framing, you can't get that anymore.
Yeah.
And if it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think after doing like inspecting for several years, you worry initially. You don't want to be like saying, yeah, that's good. Because you're like, oh, I don't want people to like misinterpret or I don't know, how long have I been doing this? But after a while you go, no, when it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not just to deliver bad news. We can tell people like,
this is
hey,
solid.
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Or like buy this house because of that. The other stuff you have to deal with, you know, but.
Yeah, I like it. One of the questions I thought would be interesting to just think about is, what are some of the things you think only inspectors in busy markets that like get good at or having to deal with? Because I know beyond just the structural thing, you also have to run a business.
Yeah. Busy markets are weird. I guess, I mean, I've only worked in a busy market. It
Right.
was like when I bought my house, it was starting to get to like offer review dates and competitive, you know, all that.
Like the 2012, 13.
Yeah, and then it was like inspectors sharing ladders. Remember when we were like, there'd be like 6
Yes.
on a house for 2 days, you know?
I hate when I pull up and I see 3 vans.
No,
I go,
and you're like,
oh,
the listing
no.
agent said there wasn't any, you know? I think, you know, you have to adapt to the market a little bit. I mean, an inspection's an inspection either way, but I think in a busy market, I mean, like in our market, one of the issues is in the morning you could be inspecting like a 2019 townhouse. In the afternoon, it's like a 1905 wreck of a house with no foundation. It's just different,
Yeah.
you know? And so like
Yeah.
changing gears and having to know a lot about a lot of eras of houses is a big deal. And like,
I hadn't thought of that because we have so much new building here too.
Yeah, busy market is like they're putting up houses, and yeah, you've got to inspect those too. And they have their problems, but can't forget about the old ones. You know, houses are great. They're cool. They're interesting. I mean, when you're first time home buyer and you're super nervous, it can like blow your mind.
Yeah.
You know, you get all that emotion.
Yes.
But,
yeah. Well, one of these days I'm going to see your house.
Oh yeah.
I'm waiting for an invite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me get the grout at the back.
Okay. Okay, good.
You know.
Well, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks. All right,
Sarah.
thanks,
See ya.
Thurston.